Hello and welcome to this latest Lukozer retro game review video, and for this one I've chosen The Great Escape. Very different sort of game. This came out by Ocean. I don't think it's actually a film tie-in, despite the rather obvious name and the fact that it is set in a World War II prisoner of war camp. But it came out in, I think it was either 86 or 87, and as you can see it's a 3D isometric game, which means that it suffers from a lot of the issues that Commodore 64 isometric games had, which is that it does get quite sluggish, especially here in the outdoor scenes. Now at the moment I'm not actually doing anything in the game. If you leave the game alone and don't press any of the keys, your character goes around doing his every day-to-day thing, so which isn't always a bad thing to do actually, because you need to time when you're going to go off and do your own thing and when is best to just do exactly what's expected of you. So as you saw, I start each day at in your cell within the in the old camp bed there, and once the alarm went off you had to head out. Soon it will be time for roll call, which is a bit like the parade for POWs. Then after that it's breakfast, which well, basically you follow all the rest of the POWs to your particular spot at the breakfast table. Okay, so roll call has now been called. And once breakfast has been had, that's when you have a small amount of time in which to go and do your own thing, which obviously in the case of this game is to try and escape. Now ultimately, in order to escape from here, what you need is a map of the compound, so that you know how far to dig your tunnel. You need something in order to dig the tunnel with, and you need some kind of light in order to find your way along the tunnel. Now I'm sure there are other things that are needed, but I never actually did very well at this game, so I never got to find out exactly what was needed. A lot of time I kept getting caught and put in solitary confinement. That's the standard punishment every time you're caught either doing something that you shouldn't be doing, or if you're in a part of the compound that you shouldn't be, you get put into solitary, and your morale, which we see is at 100, it drops down, and once your morale is at 0, that's game over. Now when you're in an area that you shouldn't be, or if you are doing something that you shouldn't be doing, your morale changes from showing in green to showing in red. So it gives you an idea that you know, you really got to be doing something. Well, you either got to hurry up with whatever you're doing, or just stop what you're doing and go back to normal. So roll call is over. We now head to breakfast. Now, I mean, you can take control of your character any time you'd like. You don't have to just sit here and wait for the opportunity. But for the case of this video, it's just easier for me if I do that. Now, the tunnel is actually already started, and after breakfast, I'll head back to my cell, and I shall show you where that is. And you can see when you're inside buildings, the game runs noticeably quicker. I mean, it's not graphically demanding in terms of colour. In fact, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this is basically the Spectrum version, but unfortunately for Commodore 64 owners, the Spectrum version, because it had the faster processor, it was better suited to isometric games, and the Spectrum version runs a lot quicker. The 64, because of the rather slow processor that it had, as you've been seeing with the outdoor shots in particular, it is quite sluggish and quite slow, which is unfortunate. It does spoil the game a bit. I mean, it doesn't ruin it, but it does, you know, spoil it somewhat, and it gets a bit annoying, especially if you have to try and go somewhere that's far away, and there are occasions where that does of course happen. So I think breakfast is almost over. As always, the bell will signify when it's over. There it is. So everyone leaves, and as is so often the case, I'm the last man out. And now that we are back in the courtyard, it's time for me to take over. So let's see if I can head back to my cell, and I can show you, once these guys bloody move out of the way and let me past, I'll show you where the tunnel is that has already been started. Now, I don't know entirely why so many 3D isometric games were... That German guard is spending an awful lot of time hanging around me. Yeah, bugger off. There you go. Why they are nearly always monochromatic, and the last Ninja series of games are the only ones I can think of. Okay, this is clearly not my cell. I don't think I'm in the right place. Let's hope I don't get caught here. Okay. So I was in the wrong room. In the wrong building, rather. Maybe this is the right one. Okay, I think this is, but yeah. So you move that stove out of the way and climb in. Here's the tunnel. Now I would have a clearer sight if I had some kind of torch or something to be able to see where I'm going as we clamber through. It does eventually come to a dead end. However, it's now exercise time, and if I don't get out the bloody way, they are going to realise I'm missing and come looking for me. So I need to get out of here. Especially as there's not much I can actually do down here at the moment. So, okay, thankfully there's no German guards waiting for me, so put the stove back where it was, head back out to the yard where I'm supposed to be. So yes, as I was saying, the three last Ninja games are the only isometric 3D games I can think of for the Commodore 64 that actually had full colour in them. Now okay, those three games were graphically phenomenal, certainly vastly better than this one, even though I think graphic wise this game's perfectly okay. Let's try and go somewhere we're not supposed to be and see if I can get caught so I can show you what happens then. I can't go there, but I do know where the key is. The key is in the Commandant's office, which is absolutely somewhere I'm not supposed to be, so let's see if I can get there. It's still constantly telling me that the door is locked, so I know the door's locked. Right. Or how about this one? I think that flag above the door is telling me that it's the Commandant's office. Yes, it is. Now, I'm pretty sure there. Right, there's a key there. It's not letting me pick it up. Possibly because I'm pushing the wrong button. But I can't remember what the fucking fire button did. What a tit. Okay, let's walk into the Commandant's office and, oh no, it's not letting us. So that door's locked. So I'm hanging around this Commandant's room here and no one's come along yet. Let's see if they'll spot me in here. Okay, this seems to be the breakfast area. Yeah. So we'll have a wander around here. Still nobody around. That door is locked, so I can't go through there. Okay. That indicates that I think they spotted me missing, because I'm now still showing morale in red, even though I'm now back in the courtyard, so clearly I'm not where I'm meant to be. I can't actually remember where I'm meant to be, so I've stopped in the hope that he will then, the computer will take over and take me to wherever I'm supposed to go. Which it isn't doing. So, okay, right, well if it's not going to, then let's see if I can find some guards around and get myself thrown into solitary. Right, well there's one on the top of the watchtower there. Right, well the alarm is going big time. There we go. Right, so I've been caught. I'm now in solitary confinement and I have to wait for release, and you do need to wait a little bit. So it's the start of the next day. My morale is down to 77 and I can't do anything now until I've been released from here. So I mean, when they punish you, they certainly punish you, because you can't actually do anything within the game. Now, I'm not actually doing a particularly good job of showing this game at its best. It has been a long time since I played it, and unfortunately there's a fair bit that I've forgotten. But this was one game that I used to find absolutely absorbing, and I reckon I still would if I gave it another chance. This is the first time I've started it up in quite some time. I know I've got to head off to a roll call fairly soon, so let's head in that direction now, especially as I've got the Commandant following me. Okay, he's buggered off now. Yeah, here we are. So, right, we'll head up to the roll call area. But yes, it's quite an absorbing game. It's very different to any other sort of arcade adventure, which I guess is the genre I would put this in. And it does actually provide quite a good sense of tension as you're doing stuff that, you know, when you're off doing stuff that you are not supposed to be doing, in the, you know, faint hope that no German guards actually spot you. And I think it does it really well. I mean, okay, graphics wise, considering it is a 3D isometric game, which is not the ideal sort of system for a Commodore 64, I think the graphics are perfectly okay. Yes, it is monochromatic, but you can't have everything. The vast majority of 3D isometric games on the Commodore 64 were all monochromatic. Sound is almost non-existent, apart from that bloody bell and the occasional notification when people enter and leave a room. Other than that, it's it. So there's no music. But I think with this game, it gets away with there being no music. I mean, considering that you know, it is a rather bleak game, I guess you could say, seeing as you are a prisoner of war, and you know, it's a pretty miserable existence, and you're determined to try and get out, even though the odds are heavily stacked against you. So yeah, I think it gets away with it having no music. I mean, it could have been nice to have a few more sound effects, but you know, you can't have everything. And gameplay wise, say it is a bit slow in places, but that again is not the fault of the game, it's the fault of the actual machine itself, because of the slow processor. But you know, if you look beyond the slightly sluggish speed, particularly in the outdoor areas, it's not bad at all. So I think the game has a lot going for it, especially if you are the adventurous sort who likes to basically take risks and push your luck a fair bit. So how would I rate it? I mean, there isn't very many games that you can compare this to, so it's almost a game that it rather stands out on its own. So there's nothing similar to it. So I can't say, well, I'll give it such and such a rating because, you know, another game like it got such a rating. So I will give it 7.5. Actually, no, I think it deserves a bit more than that. Okay, I'll give it 8 out of 10. I think it's, you know, if you like your adventure type games, and you know, you like your games somewhat involved, then I think you would really like this one. And yeah, I would certainly recommend it. So 8 out of 10 I think is a decent score. It's a decent game. I think it's well worth checking out. So well done, Ocean. You finally got a decent review among my videos. Yeah, it's not strictly fair. I've already given Arkanoid and Arkanoid 2 decent-ish reviews, so I envy you, of course. So there you go, that's The Great Escape. Fine game, I think. 8 out of 10. That brings this video to an end. As always, see you at the next one.